Is China on the brink of a severe famine? Surge in state-operated canteens. Chengdu Temple abbot and female anchor caught in an extramarital affair. Continuous decline in passenger throughput makes Beijing capital airport the loss leader. After Keqiang's death, an expert foresees a new phase in the CCP's internal power struggle. Xi Jinping's trip to San Francisco faces new challenges. A Jilin petitioner vows to intercept the motorcade. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Is China on the brink of a severe famine? Surge in state-operated canteens. The legacy of the Great Leap Forward era, large canteens return to the lives of the Chinese people. Recently, in Shijiazhuang, there is a state-owned canteen that claims to offer a full meal for 5 yuan, approximately 69 cents. According to media reports, this canteen, which carries a nostalgic ambience, is operated by Jiajiaoui Public Kitchen Food Company, Limited, a subsidiary of Shijiazhuang State Investment Group. It commenced its trial operation on October 19, with the objective of providing convenient dining services to thousands of residents in the Yanxi community and its vicinity, striving to ensure that customers can eat to satisfaction for 5 yuan, eat well for 9 yuan. This canteen rapidly generated controversy and faced criticism from numerous netizens who argued that it does not adhere to market principles. They expressed concerns like the service industry is being disrupted. Unusual developments are emerging. Disregarding market principles through formalism will either lead to elimination or coercing everyone into extinction. Some questioned its long-term viability, while others suggested that it seems they are unaware of the painful lessons from the People's Communes and the Great Leap Forward. Some even invoked historical reminders. History teaches us that we were close to starvation. An article in Nandu also raised doubts about whether community canteens, meant for the benefit of the people, are financially supported by government subsidies. It highlighted that all subsidies originate from the government's public budget, which is funded by taxpayers. Additionally, these community canteens enjoy national policy preferences, which are expected to impact nearby small restaurants, takeout shops, and other food service businesses, potentially leading to business decline and closures. This, in turn, may result in economic issues such as unemployment and reduced economic activities. Following the 20th National Congress of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, the Chinese authorities accelerated their shift toward more state control. Supply and marketing cooperatives, as well as large canteens, which had been out of the public eye for many years, have made a resurgence. Notably, Hebei authorities issued a directive stipulating that by 2022, each city must establish a minimum of 50 canteens, with the entire province aiming for no less than 5,000 such establishments by 2025. Analysis suggests that this initiative is closely tied to the resurgence of supply and marketing cooperatives across the nation. In essence, it signifies an expansion of state ownership in the economy, giving state-run enterprises more control over the daily lives of the Chinese people. In the context of the CCP's issuance of this directive, it's worth considering the analysis of Mr. Xie Tian, a US-based economist. He suggests that a combination of economic decline, social instability, military ambitions, and a lack of consolidated authority has driven Xi Jinping to adopt a highly controlled, quasi-militarized management approach. This approach seeks to bring down the consumption and living standards of the population to their lowest while still meeting the requirements for military mobilization. Xi Jinping appears to be in need of a system of social control and management, and he seems to be drawing from the CCP's existing models, such as the infamous supply and marketing cooperatives and large canteen model. While some Chinese netizens on the mainland view these community canteens positively, noting that they are quite good as they save time and occasionally enhance the quality of meals, Mr. Xie Tian pointed out that initially, it was a source of great enjoyment for everyone. However, this period of prosperity was short-lived, and soon the canteens run by production teams were depleted. Subsequently, the Great Famine and starvation unfolded. In reality, an official Chinese media outlet, Half Moon Talk reported earlier this year that community canteens faced certain challenges in their operation, including significant pressures on venue costs. One manager of a community canteen stated that the property for the storefront is owned by the local street administration, and the rent is set according to market rates. After more than a year of operation, the monthly calculations still resulted in losses. According to a report from Insight News, since October of the previous year, many state-operated community canteens have been shutting down, and this has occurred in less than 6 months. The reason behind this is the widespread proliferation of state-operated canteens, combined with the prevailing financial constraints faced by government entities at various levels, makes it unsustainable for any government to maintain these operations. Furthermore, these subsidies may give rise to rent-seeking and arbitrage, which could result in alarming levels of corruption and wastage. Mr. Hung He, a current affairs commentator in the United States, believes that such projects should not exist in the first place, and the future of supply and marketing cooperatives and community canteens is inevitably destined for failure, as they do not align with market operating principles. Chengdu Temple Abbot and female anchor caught in an extramarital affair. In November 2023, a scandal involving the abbot of a well-known temple in Chengdu, Zhang, and a female anchor, Kai, was reported by Chinese media. The illicit relationship began in late 2020, leading to blackmail by Kai's husband, Qian. In April 2021, Qian orchestrated a rendezvous with Zhang, capturing their activities on hidden cameras. On July 10, Qian and Kai met with Zhang, revealing compromising photos and extorting money. Zhang paid Kai couple 2 million yuan to resolve the issue. In February 2023, Qian returned, demanding more money and threatening exposure. Zhang agreed to pay Qian 3.3 million yuan in installments and arranged for Kai to participate in a resolution. They met at a Menshan hotel to finalize the agreement. After making the payment, Zhang reported the case to the police, leading to the arrest of Qian and Kai, who now face criminal charges. This extortion case has garnered significant public attention. Netizens mocked, "Today's monks are really something. They're handing over millions so easily." Some netizens also questioned why the temple abbot wasn't held accountable. Others lamented, "If even monks aren't genuine anymore, what is still real?" Under the rule of the CCP, which promotes atheism, China's religious landscape has been marred by chaos. We've witnessed a prevalence of political monks and licentious monks who have tainted places of worship, leading to an ongoing stream of scandals. One of the most shocking cases involved Shi Xueqing, the former chairman of the Buddhist Association of China. He was accused of sexually assaulting female disciples, sending shockwaves not only in China but also on the international stage. Two courageous individuals who came forward together published a 95-page report that exposed troubling details about Shi's dirty deeds. Surprisingly, this report was rapidly removed from the Chinese internet, underscoring attempts to conceal the truth. Initially, Shi Xueqing vehemently denied all allegations, and the authorities attempted to cover up the scandal, suppressing public opinion. However, the weight of the evidence couldn't be denied, ultimately forcing the authorities to acknowledge the validity of the allegations. As a result, Shi Xueqing stepped down from his role as chairman of the Buddhist Association of China, yet he faced no legal consequences, merely being required to engage in a period of reflection in his hometown. Continuous decline in passenger throughput makes Beijing Capital Airport the loss leader. In recent years, Beijing Capital International Airport has experienced a continuous decline in passenger traffic. As the number of passengers decreased, the airport's financial performance deteriorated, resulting in an accumulated net loss of 7.7 billion yuan over the past 3 years, approximately $1.06 billion, making it the most loss-making airport among all others for 3 consecutive years. Historically, Beijing Capital International Airport held the top position in terms of passenger throughput among mainland airports. In 2019, it served 100 million passengers, claiming the number 1 spot in mainland China. However, this trend began to reverse from 2020 onwards, which only handled 34.51 million passengers, equivalent to just 34.5% of the 2019 figure, causing it to fall to 5th place in the rankings. The passenger count further dropped to 32.64 million in 2021, pushing it down to 6th place. By 2022, the airport handled a mere 12.72 million passengers, which was just 13% of the 2019 numbers, causing it to plummet to the 11th position. This marked the lowest passenger throughput at Beijing Capital Airport since the beginning of the 21st century. Simultaneously, the declining passenger numbers were accompanied by mounting financial losses for the airport. As we entered 2023, the operational conditions at Beijing Capital Airport have not shown any substantial improvements. Even in the third quarter of this year, when most airports were profitable, Beijing Capital Airport still reported a net loss of 300 million yuan, approximately 41.2 million USD, making it the only publicly listed airport to suffer losses. Internet users have been discussing the ongoing financial losses at Beijing Capital Airport. One user named Xia Tian highlighted that the airport's losses are a result of insufficient flight routes. Beijing Capital Airport, located in the north, faces competition from Daxing Airport in the south, where most flights operate. This results in a scarcity of flight options for residents in the northern areas who would prefer to use Beijing Capital Airport. Instead, they are forced to endure a 2 to 3 hour journey to reach Daxing, and this inconvenience encourages them to consider taking high-speed trains for shorter distances, especially within 1,000 kilometers. Even if flights were evenly distributed, Beijing Capital Airport would still struggle to compete with Daxing due to Daxing's superior infrastructure and a more extensive range of shopping and dining choices. After Li Keqiang's death, an expert foresees a new phase in the CCP's internal power struggle. After the passing of Li Keqiang, attention has shifted to the power struggle within the CCP, specifically between the current Premier of the State Council, Li Qiang, and the Secretary of the Secretariat, Keqiang. Li Qiang, who holds less power, is pitted against the more influential Keqiang. On November 5, Mr. Akiharu Yabuta, a respected Japanese media figure, expressed his views that if Xi Jinping aims to follow in Mao Zedong's footsteps, he needs to foment internal conflicts among his subordinates to maintain control. Mr. Yabuta noted that the power struggle between Keqiang and Li Qiang dates back to their time in Zhejiang and has persisted. Encouraging them to compete with each other is likely to intensify power struggles. In the past, discussions about CCP politics primarily focused on the Jiang faction, Hu faction, and Xi faction, highlighting top leadership struggles. However, with internal conflicts among Xi's associates, it appears a new phase of power struggles within the CCP is unfolding. Keqiang currently serves as a member of the political bureau of the CCP Central Committee. He has worked alongside Xi Jinping in both Fujian and Zhejiang provinces. After his transfer to Zhejiang, Keqiang closely aligned himself with Xi Jinping, resulting in swift promotions. He became a member of the political bureau during the 19th National Congress of the CCP and was further elevated to a member of the Standing Committee of the Political Bureau during the 20th National Congress. The current Premier of the State Council, Li Qiang, previously served as Xi Jinping's secretary when she held the position of the Secretary of the Zhejiang Provincial Committee. He became a candidate member of the Central Committee during the 18th National Congress. At the 20th National Congress, Li Qiang was ranked as the second member of the Standing Committee of the Political Bureau. When it comes to the specific details of the future power struggle within the Xi faction, Mr. Yabuta commented, "It's not very clear right now. They are desperately fighting for favor and loyalty, and we'll have to observe further." Zhong Yuan, an Epoch Times commentator, discussed in his article on November 5 that Li Qiang is likely to be regarded as the primary rival by Keqiang. Both of them lack formal academic credentials and have risen to high positions in the Political Bureau Standing Committee primarily by closely following Xi Jinping. It's expected that there is mutual distrust between them. Keqiang wields more real power, overseeing the Central Organization Department and the propaganda system, and he has command of the Central Security Bureau, which gives him certain advantages in the internal power struggle. Li Qiang voluntarily relinquished the decision-making power of the State Council and faces challenges in independently selecting the heads of various ministries, which makes him relatively weaker in the internal power struggle. Xi Jinping's trip to San Francisco faces new challenges. A Jilin petitioner vows to intercept the motorcade. Chinese President Xi Jinping is anticipated to attend the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation (APEC) summit in San Francisco next week. According to information from the overseas social media platform X, Ma Yongtian, a Jilin activist, now living in the U.S., organized a press conference on November 5, expressing her unwavering determination to intercept Xi Jinping's motorcade for the third time, seeking justice. Prominent figures, including leaders of the 1989 Tiananmen movement, Wang Dan, human rights activist Liu Jinghua, and Hu Ping, the honorary editor of Beijing's Spring magazine, attended the event to show their support. Mrs. Ma posts on her X account, stating that in 2001, the Jilin provincial government unlawfully demolished her factory, seizing all her assets. In 2002, she won the lawsuit, yet she's been petitioning for 18 years without receiving any compensation. In both 2015 and 2017, she intercepted Xi Jinping's motorcade during his visits to the United States. This led to the Public Security Bureau accusing her of tarnishing Xi Jinping's international image, detaining her son and husband as hostages, withholding their immigration procedures, and now they are compelling them to sign bail agreements without specific charges, restricting their freedom and threatening them with imminent arrest and sentencing. According to Radio Free Asia, RFA, Mrs. Ma remained absent from media coverage since 2019. However, her family in China has endured prolonged persecution by the Chinese government. Ma's husband and son made efforts to legally travel to the United States but encountered government obstruction. In April of this year, Ma Yongtian's son was apprehended by the Changchun police on suspicion of illegal border crossing, while her husband was summoned. Subsequently, both of them were released on bail pending trial. During the press conference, Ma Yongtian voiced two demands directed at the CCP government. Firstly, she called for the government to release her son to the United States. Secondly, she urged the government to address the issue of her confiscated property. She also dispatched letters to the governor of Jilin province and the Chinese ambassador to the United States, Xia Feng, conveying these demands. However, she has not received a response to date. Prior to October 26, Ma Yongtian staged a protest in front of the Chinese embassy in the United States. In a video released by RFA, Ma Yongtian was seen holding a loudspeaker and proclaiming, "The people's government is robbing the people and extorting them." When someone accused her of insulting China, she retorted, "What have I insulted in China? I haven't stolen or robbed anything. If this isn't insulting China, then go ahead and rob. The problem needs to be resolved. See you in San Francisco." Staff from the Chinese embassy alerted the police, and the authorities determined that the protest location was a public area, thus deeming the protest legal. Currently, Beijing has not yet officially confirmed Xi Jinping's attendance at the APEC summit in San Francisco. However, during a White House press briefing last week, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre mentioned that leaders from both countries intend to have a constructive dialogue during the San Francisco APEC, and they are still in the process of finalizing the critical details needed for these plans. Some analysts suggest that Beijing's hesitation to confirm this might be due to concerns that the United States could impose additional sanctions on China before the event. Don't forget to leave a comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths.